April is such a packed month for health and wellness observances. It focuses on cervical cancer, autism, physical activity, immunization, and world health. It's no wonder today's magazine focus will be on health and wellness. Popular Christian author Joyce Meyer once said, "The greatest gift you can give your family and the world is a healthy you." Yes, not money, nor lavish gifts, just a healthy you. By now, you must realize that you're just in time for an informative show. Stay tuned.
So here are the facts.
7 out of 10 Jamaicans die from a non-communicable disease.
Because we love our people and we want them to live better quality lives,
we, the Ministry of Health and our partners, are launching Jamaica Moves.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases.
By educating and encouraging Jamaicans to be active.
Eat healthy.
and start living 30 minutes at a time.
Because 30 minutes of physical activity each day,
along with proper nutrition, can go a long way.
To prevent your risk from developing certain NCDs such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and certain cancers.
And remember, it's life we're promoting. That's why you see me going hard right now.
I'm all about living.
So help us take this first step towards a healthier Jamaica so you can enjoy more moments, more memories, more life.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, April 6. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says major shifts are to be implemented in the education system to create a pool of workers who can drive economic growth and national security.
I didn't think 10 years ago that the problem we would have now is that we don't have sufficient trained labor. The truth is that we have industries that are growing at a faster rate that we can supply them with labor.
He says government has taken a strategic policy decision to place major focus on education this legislative year, particularly in the areas of technical and vocational training. Mr. Holness was speaking yesterday at the celebration event for former principal of Spalding High School, Alphonsus Davis.
Today's guest of honor epitomizes the spirit of dedication to this country. He is an educator who has gone above and beyond the call of duty for our children.
Within 12 months, vendors and customers who use the market on Hodgson Street in Port Maria, St. Mary will have access to a new and upgraded facility. This follows the signing of a $56 million contract yesterday to replace the old structure. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the work should commence shortly after a groundbreaking ceremony in 2 weeks' time.
Port Maria is critical, very critical. It is not just a major urban-rural center, but it is also a part of the breadbasket that covers the eastern part of the island. And whatever we can to ensure viability, it is the intention of the government to do that.
The new market will accommodate 55 stalls. Port Maria Mayor Richard Creary says areas in close proximity to the existing market have been identified to house the vendors during the construction phase. The Energy Minister this week unveiled IGL's 3 tractor heads, which are powered by LNG, the first in the island.
I want to congratulate IGL for being the first company in Jamaica to use liquefied natural gas, of course supplied by New Fortress Energy, as a source of energy in the transportation industry.
They were produced through a partnership between IGL Limited and New Fortress Energy under IGL's Clean Air Initiative project. The 3 tractor heads will be used for IGL's long trips across the island. Recently appointed State Minister for National Security Rudyard Spencer says greater emphasis will be placed on the rehabilitation of children in correctional facilities. This is in keeping with the government's thrust to repurpose the correctional system to focus on the comprehensive rehabilitation of offenders as part of the 5-pillar crime prevention strategy. Speaking Thursday during a meeting with officials from the Department of Correctional Services, Mr. Spencer said no effort would be spared to save juvenile offenders. During the meeting, correctional service officials gave the state minister updates on their department's activities and made recommendations for improving the experiences of juveniles. And finally, Culture Minister Olivia Grange has welcomed the news that the exoneration of national heroes who were classified as criminals has been passed into law. In a statement issued yesterday, Ms. Grange said Jamaica had completed a long walk to justice for its ancestors. She was responding to news that the National Heroes and Other Freedom Fighters Absolution from Criminal Liability in Respect of Specified Events Act 2018 has received the assent of the Governor-General and has become law. Minister Grange had introduced the legislation in the House of Representatives, and it was subsequently approved in both the lower and the upper house. She says the law helps to bring closure to a painful chapter in history by recognizing our heroes and freedom fighters for who they really were and restoring their dignity in the records. The law rights the records of national heroes Sam Sharp, George William Gordon, Paul Bogle, and Marcus Garvey, along with their supporters and sympathizers, and other freedom fighters such as Tacky. Anyone with official documents regarding the criminal liability of these individuals must now update the records to indicate that they have been absolved of any such criminal liability. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
This is Romain Virgo. I'm here appeal to all of the youths them to just stay away from crime and violence. We know the temptation, the money, the fast life. People say them rate you. But that will only take you nowhere. If you stay in school and focus, then you can achieve anything. Be your own leader. A gang is a dead end.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Jamaicans are ambitious people. We want to see our country grow. We want to be able to enjoy the beauty and tranquility of our country, free of crime and violence.
And so Prime Minister Andrew Holness has set out an ambitious plan of action for the 2018-19 fiscal year, building on work started in 2016.
We are 90% complete with all the business processes needed to implement NIDS.
A legal team is to be established to develop regulations. Public education will continue. Privacy and data protection laws enacted, and the NID solution secured to complement the program. Enhanced security measures are also being pursued. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said in addition to the state of emergency declared in several communities, the Firearm Act will be amended and a watch list is to be created.
For too long, persons with gang associations and those who are part of criminal organizations have been proceeding with impunity.
A comprehensive program is being developed to provide solar lamps to poor households.
After the full implementation of this program, no child should perish in a house fire caused by a candle or a lamp used for lighting.
On the matter of solid waste, Prime Minister Andrew Holness committed his government to the introduction of a plastic bottle return system. This will be done in partnership with the private sector.
As demand for housing and urban facilities increase against a finite land resource, a compelling case is made to review existing residential densities and heights as an integral part of Jamaica's spatial development strategy.
As a result, government is currently looking at increasing densities and building heights in urban centers. It's expected that over the next 3 years, 20,000 parcels of land will be registered and titles issued across the island. This will be made possible through part funding of $2 billion from the National Housing Trust. And with the April 1 merger of the Land Administration and Management Program with the National Land Agency, the newly formed Land Titling Agency will utilize systematic land registration.
Under the current LAMP, the cost of producing a title is $192,000 per parcel. Under the proposed systematic program, the cost of producing a title will be reduced to approximately $134,000 per parcel.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness also revealed plans to increase the housing stock through the National Housing Trust.
Having done 8,200 housing starts already, we are already executing plans to do a total of approximately 22,000 housing starts for the 4-year period to 2020.
The Housing Agency of Jamaica, HAJ, will also start construction on 1,866 solutions in the 2018-19 fiscal year. The housing solutions will be developed in 8 communities across 4 parishes. 319 serviced lots, housing starts and houses will also be delivered by the HAJ in this financial year. And Cabinet has approved a master plan for the development of Bernard Lodge St. Catherine into an urban community. Government's flagship social intervention and support program for youth, the Housing Opportunity, Production and Employment Hope, is to be expanded in this financial year. In addition to securing $60 million to increase training and placement across the island, the HOPE program will also benefit from a $28 million archive digitization initiative at the Jamaica Information Service. 12,600 young persons from the National Unattached Youth Program are being absorbed into the HOPE program this year.
We are giving more young people opportunities to realize their potential, and by doing so, giving Jamaica better and more hopeful future.
The Andrew Holness-led administration is targeting the construction of purpose-built space and the provision of adequate labor to sustain the growth of the business process outsourcing BPO sector. Construction will start later this year on a BPO finishing school at the Hart College of Innovation and Technology in Montego Bay.
The government has signed off on a partnership initiative to develop a new comprehensive BPO campus on lands at Old Road, which will see the development of 300,000 square feet of purpose-built BPO space.
That facility is expected to provide 8,000 new jobs. A 63,000 square foot BPO facility employing 2,000 new workers will open in April at the Montego Bay Free Zone. Later this year, 4,000 persons will be employed when the Portmore Informatics Park's 160,000 square feet of space is completed. BPO space and jobs will also be created at the Nago Head Tech Park, Bioprist, Ferry BPO, Usain Bolt's building, and Sutherland Global's Mandeville operations.
The Port Authority has entered into a contract for the construction of a modern 200,000 square feet logistics facility immediately adjacent to the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited.
Construction is slated for completion before the end of 2018. Continued development of the Kingston port and the implementation of the port community system will also be realized in the 2018-19 fiscal year. So too will work on the ports at Montego Bay, Trelawney and Ocho Rios. And a cruise shipping port has been approved for Port Royal.
The Port Authority has identified modern technology which will allow berthing of cruise ships while being highly respectful to the fragile and extremely important environment in Port Royal, with specific reference to the sunken city.
And Cabinet has mandated the Factories Corporation of Jamaica to implement 3 enterprise projects, which will see the construction of over 1.5 million square feet of space. To be carried out over the next 3 to 5 years, the space will accommodate agri-processing, business process outsourcing, manufacturing, distribution, and warehousing. 30% of the space will be dedicated to small and medium-sized enterprises.
Prosperity is a destiny for all Jamaicans. Yes. Let us maintain a positive outlook and hopeful minds. Action your prosperity.
The Ministry of Health launched its Jamaica Moves initiative almost 1 year ago to the day. It was on April 7, 2017, and the goal was and remains to encourage more Jamaicans to lead healthier lives. Since then, many ministries, private entities, charity groups, and churches have joined the cause. In fact, here's one church putting message to practice.
The Uwimona Bowl came alive with Ready, Set, Sweat was organized by the Universal Church of the Kingdom of God to promote health and wellness, heeding the Ministry of Health's call for better nutrition and more active lifestyle. Members of the church and the wider public were invited to take part in the day's offerings.
We have a lot of things. We have Sagicor here doing a lot of tests, free of course. We have the Heart Foundation. We're doing the BMIs. Everything is going to be massive today.
It's all about movements, getting fit and staying healthy. But not only that, the UCKG organizers of the event partnered with the National Blood Transfusion Service, also known as the Blood Bank, to give back. Scores of persons turned out to give the gift of life, and Eagle Allen, blood donor organizer, couldn't be happier.
We at the National Blood Transfusion Service only meet about 50% of the demand. So any opportunity that presents itself that will better help Jamaicans, we welcome it. And we commend them on this for reaching out to us, and we hope that other entities follow suit.
Let's not forget the cheerful givers.
So is this your first time giving blood, and how was it?
No, it's not my first time, but it's a pleasure to help to save lives.
Why did you decide to give blood today?
Because I wanted to help others that needed it, because there's a lot of people that needed blood. If we just come together and just donate to others, then we can help the better society.
And if you think aerobics was the only form of exercise for the day, think again. Persons worked out on the bicycle, the treadmill, and check out the strength training, weightlifting, and even juggling football. It's said that Jamaicans are not getting the required amount of physical activity or nutrition in their daily routine to maintain healthy lives. Dion Keynes from the Ministry of Health shared some pointers.
Results of the screenings done here today, for example, the weight checks, the blood pressure checks, the blood sugar checks, those can reveal some very important things. And what it can indicate is that Jamaicans actually need to be more physically active. Just moderate exercise of 30 minutes or more per day can actually help to control your blood sugar and help to reduce your blood cholesterol and help you to control your weight better. So it reduces your risk of many diseases like heart disease, hypertension, or even some cancers. And I just want to urge persons to get checked, get their screenings done. If you cannot afford to see a private doctor, then use the services of the government health clinics.
And what of seeking medical advice via the internet?
The internet does offer a lot of information in regards to health issues. However, one has to make sure you do check reputable sites, and these information should not be used to make your own diagnosis and administer your own treatment. All persons are encouraged to seek the counsel of their medical doctor on all medical issues.
Beyond the various health checks, booths at Ready, Set, Sweat also offered hair care, wellness, and fitness services. And for your closing advice,
don't pay attention to the body, which is the temple where your spirit resides. And we have a duty to protect it. And we protect the body by paying attention to what you put in your mouth. Because if you don't pay attention to that, you're going to be the richest man in the graveyard by drinking all these acid-forming foods.
Now remember, stay fit, keep healthy, and take it 1 pound at a time.
I'm sure you've heard it time and time again that cervical cancer is one of the leading causes of death among Jamaican women. It is for this reason we can't stress enough the need for more women and girls to take the necessary steps to reduce their risk of developing this dreaded disease. Doing regular tests, such as the Pap smear and the HPV test, are just a few of the preventative procedures available today that can save a life. Take a look.
It's an awful multiplication of cells out of the normal that take over your system rather than the normal cells. That's what it is.
According to the Ministry of Health, in 2010, 3,198 persons died of cancer, accounting for 24% of all deaths in Jamaica. The common types found in women are cancers of the breast, cervix, and colon. On the other hand, cancer of the prostate, lung, and stomach are more common in men. The good news is doctors say that these illnesses are largely avoidable. And the doctors say prevention and early detection are our best defenses, even while the level of treatment and care is improving. In addition to promoting healthier lifestyle, government and its private sector partners are revolutionizing the gamut of care, with 2 linear accelerator machines purchased to provide timely and efficient access to cancer care treatment. Our most vulnerable patients are targeted to have access at no cost at centers of excellence being established at the St. Joseph's Hospital and the Cornwall Regional Hospital.
Changes in standard of living, introduction of screening methods, and public health education and promotion have impacted the distribution of cancer seen in Jamaica over the years. This trend is expected to continue, at least in the short term, as public health education increases and screening becomes more widespread.
In the case of cervical cancer, caused by a viral infection from the human papillomavirus HPV, the Pap smear is considered the best screening method to date.
And the reason for this is that a screening method should be able to find a disease before it has become established, find it in the precancerous phase, be easily accessible, not very invasive, inexpensive, and universally available. The Pap smear satisfies all of that sort of criteria.
The Pap smear is not an actual test for cancer, but rather a test to detect the presence of any abnormal cells with the potential to develop into cancer. The result from this painless process is used to inform decisions about what treatment to apply to prevent cancer from developing.
A sample of cell is taken, sometimes even with a little brush, so there's no scraping and clipping and all of that like what the perception is out in the street.
Squamous cells, which are cells lining outer layers in areas such as the lung, hand middle, mouth, vagina, and cervix, are usually affected by the human papillomavirus. The virus gets to the cervix during intercourse and has the ability to transform the normal cells into precancerous ones.
You hardly ever get cervical cancer in women who have never had sex. From getting the virus to getting cervical cancer can take 15 years or more.
The recommendation is for annual screening to detect, monitor, and treat with any incidents or progression that might be taking place.
The next reason for annual checks is that there is no test that is 100%. You know, all tests have false positive and false negative. You could do a smear and it is normal, but something is there. But if you keep doing it, it will pick up something.
Abnormal smears can be treated in the precancerous stage by methods that include freezing, cauterization using electricity, and what is called the loop. That is, removing the bad area and having what is called a cone to abort the process. Where cancer has developed, treatment will involve radiotherapy and chemotherapy and possibly major surgery. In an aggressive move to reduce local cervical cancer cases, The government of Jamaica has taken a decision to introduce human papillomavirus HPV vaccines to protect against high-risk strains of this family of viruses. HPV vaccines are recommended for preteen girls and boys ages 11 to 12, providing immune protection from the virus before exposure.
We have two types. We have one that they call bivalent. It vaccinates against two types of HPV, 16 and 18, because HPV are numbered. And there is one that is quadrivalent that vaccinates against 6, 11, 16 and 18. 6 and 11 vaccinate against genital warts, while 16 and 18 vaccinate against 70% of cervical cancer.
There is a new vaccine yet to be introduced that vaccinates against 9 types of HPVs. This has the potential to prevent up to 90% of cervical cancers.
We are going to do better when we have the cervical cancer HPV vaccines.
Take the necessary actions to stay healthy. Get screened yearly, eat well, exercise, and get vaccinated.
So, Autism Awareness Month is upon us, and I know it's possible you or someone you know has a child with autism. But you may know or know of a child, but know little about their condition. For instance, did you know that autism or autism spectrum disorder is a mental condition that is most common in males? Did you know that a child with autism may have challenges with social skills and portray repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication? What about the fact that autism comes in many variations? It is for this reason that no autistic child is like another. Each child has his or her own unique strengths and differences. If you find this information interesting, imagine what you can learn firsthand from autistic children or their parents. Rather than ignoring a child with autism, why not take the time to ask about that child today? Not only will you make his or her life a little bit better, you will also slowly help to make Jamaica the place of choice for everyone to live, work, raise families, and do business. Unfortunately, this is where we close off our magazine for today. Thanks for staying with us for the entire show. Another informative edition awaits you tomorrow. But until then, drop us an email at jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or visit our website, gis.gov.jm, for more information. I'm Audrey Williams. As you go, do remember, the greatest gift you can give your family and the world is a healthy you.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.